It seems as though people might actually be interested in Marvel films again. The MCU's recent teasers for Avengers Doomsday have racked up more than 1 billion views. That is billion with a B. Are people actually interested in what Kevin Feige and his crew have to offer? Well, let's talk about it today on That Park Place. All right, guys, this article comes to us from That Park Place. It is by the one and only Trevor Denning, Bookstore Thor, and it says Disney's unusual marketing strategy for Avengers Doomsday seems to be playing off for Marvel in a big way. Marvel attached a character-focused teaser trailer to Avatar Fire and Ash screenings over a 4-week period. A few days after their theatrical debuts, the teasers were posted online. Insiders have then told The Hollywood Reporter that the 4 teasers for next December's entry in the MCU have already hit a combined 1.02 billion views across YouTube and social media. The trailer for an event film is usually released online immediately, often with an advertisement during a major sporting event to drive traffic. For example, the record-setting trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine reached 365 million views in 24 hours. However, the tally also took in the 100-plus million who saw it during the Super Bowl. But the Doomsday numbers exclude theatrical viewers and only count users who actively sought out the teasers online. These numbers are particularly impressive given that all 3 MCU films released last year underperformed at the box office. Unlike Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four: First Steps, the promise of Doomsday is a return to something familiar, not reinvention or revision, and fans seem to be responding positively. Now, let's look at this by the numbers. The 1.02 billion views for Doomsday trailers encompass all major social platforms across Marvel's official accounts. At the time of this writing, the Steve Rogers trailer on YouTube alone accounts for 18 million views, earning the most of the good lord. Earning the most of it in its first 3 days, despite leaking online several days earlier. Thor's has 17 million, the X-Men trailer 15 million, and the Black Panther Fantastic Four crossover trailer has received 9.9 million views. Insiders told THR that the social volume, searches, mentions, etc. of each trailer is on average 188% greater than for a typical Marvel drop. The combined views on social media sites are also impressive, including 505 million views on Instagram, 103 million on TikTok. On X, Doomsday, Steve Rogers, Thor, X-Men, Wakanda, and 11 other Avengers-related terms all have trended. So, guys, here's the question here. Are people actually excited for this movie? Because personally, I don't think so. I don't know. Bro,
I'm not entirely convinced.
Go ahead, Vash.
Go ahead, Vash.
I'm not entirely convinced. I mean, the same Hollywood Reporter article mentions that Fantastic Four: First Steps flew to 202 million in the first 24 hours. Well, extrapolate that out. If you were to multiply that times 4, it's very similar to what you would actually receive here when it comes to Avengers Doomsday. Now, Marvel's very proud that, none of these trailers featured Robert Downey Jr. and just goes to show you how people really want to be reinvested back into these stories of these characters and so forth, but I don't know. When I look at Wolverine and Deadpool and you look at 365, I understand. I get it. They're adding a lot of stuff in there to make that number what it is. But we should see, I think, way more in terms of reception and enthusiasm, especially on these same social media platforms that they hail as, hey, look, listen, it's getting so many impressions on Instagram and TikTok and so forth. I'm not seeing it. I'm not saying it's not going to get $1 billion, but it needs to make way over $1 billion in order to be profitable. And I don't necessarily think it's going to meet that threshold. In fact, it's very interesting. I heard from a number of people who actually saw Avatar in its first weekend when it was out and so forth, and they had the Doomsday trailer in there. Now, when you looked at for the IMAX screenings, you look at Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, people were very enthusiastic. They were very excited. They were cheering. They were doing all that. They were like, I want to go see that movie immediately. But almost no reception for Doomsday in those same trailers. And this was in the LA area, which you would think that audience would be most predisposed to actually, wanting something like this. And that reception just simply was not there for this film product. Mm-hmm. So I think somebody even said in the theater, as related to me, it was like, who cares kind of thing. Yeah. I was like, whoa, that's a crazy response right there. And look, the article on That Park Place, it brings in some YouTubers who have covered this and so forth. Look at their numbers as it's attached to Marvel. Their numbers when covering this are down, and shows a little bit of apathy. You're right, amongst at least our demographic. And, you need everybody to be in that theater in order to become profitable.
Can't hit on a Marvel video to save my life. Pro, I remember you saying that in your theater, when you saw the Steve Rogers trailer, there was little to no reaction.
little to no reaction. I've heard the opposite from some others, so it depends on who's in there. But I'll give you a number that I find interesting, and then people can come to their own conclusion about this, because I believe people have the highest IQ in terms of what they need to know to figure out, is this popular or not? They can judge this for themselves. They just need the data. The Avengers Infinity War trailer from 2018 is the closest thing I can think of a parallel to what we're seeing right now. It's the beginning of Avengers movies again, and there's anticipation. We don't know what this is going to be, right? It's the end of something, and such was Avengers Infinity War. Well, that trailer in 2018, under the Marvel channel, folks, you can go find this, has 263 million views. Now, the problem is that, yes, that's far less than 1 billion, but it's also one trailer. And the other part about that is, it's also not simply on Marvel. It's also on Disney. It's on IGN. It's on Screen Crush. It's on Screen Rant. It's on, you get the idea. Everybody on their brother who has permission, Disney UK, Disney Spain, Disney Japan, everybody who has permission in that giant kaleidoscope of Disney affiliated channels, they have that trailer. The leading one is the one on Marvel with 263 million views. Now, am I to presume that it only has 263 million views and nobody viewed it on IGN? No, I'm not going to presume that. I don't know. I don't have a way, though, to figure out exactly how many people viewed that trailer. A good way. I mean, we could spend days researching this and maybe we could come up with something. But I would bet you that it's, half a billion or more, actually, probably. One would anticipate that, viewed that trailer on some platform. Okay, well, that's one trailer. So far, the Avengers Doomsday thing has been to release 4 trailers. So the fact that it's crossed 1 billion, well, that means that they're getting 250 million per trailer thus far. And I'm assuming that they're counting every single source, right? Marvel, Disney, Disney UK, every single source out there that's playing the trailer.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that too. So it's not.
So I don't know how to measure this, other than to say I don't think that if the argument they're making is that this is somehow unprecedented, I don't believe that's true. But I also don't believe that it's really unpopular. I think people do want to see, like, is there life in this? People are going to view that. You could go back and look at the Snow White trailer. The Snow White trailer, I bet, has lots of views. It's not because it's popular. You can go look at views for some of the Star Trek, Starfleet Academy stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody's viewing the episodes exactly. But they're viewing the trailer and they're laughing at it. That doesn't mean it's popular. So right. I don't know how to measure this yet. I think Vash is on it when he's talking about sort of the meh reaction. But I do think people want to look and go, what is this?
Is this hype or curiosity? That's the thing we have to distinguish between this. And even their own numbers, they say, well, this is 188% higher than a typical Marvel trailer. Okay, then it's not even 2 times higher in terms of response. And by the way, if that's, let's say Fantastic Four is the benchmark right there, if this does twice the amount of money that Fantastic Four did, if going by that metric right there, this movie fails. So I don't necessarily see the demand just yet, and demand for a trailer or views for a trailer don't necessarily translate to the box office every single time. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes it's very contextual. This could be curiosity more than anything. We just have to see.
Right. Erica, do you think any of this, like Disney releasing this to the Hollywood Reporter, getting this out through the trades, do you think they're trying to create a FOMO situation, a fear of missing out, that they want people to think that people are excited for this so that they'll want to go see it?
Yeah, I could absolutely see them doing that marketing tactic. I mean, it's not out of reason, but I'm with Vash. I think it's more out of curiosity. I don't think it'll necessarily translate to what the ultimate result will be at the box office. Then again, we could be surprised. You never know.
Well, one thing, Erica, one thing, MJ, to notice is the numbers on these trailers. You had Captain America trailer with 18 million views. Now, you go all the way down. They keep getting less and less. Now, yes, because some of them have been out longer, so they're going to get more views. But you look at that Wakanda Fantastic Four trailer, markedly lower views on YouTube than the others, and a lot more dislikes as well. So what do you think that says about the current state of Marvel, the MCU post Endgame, and where people's interests lie for this movie?
Oh, I mean, they're they're just gonna, like you guys said, it's just out of curiosity. It's not anything we're looking forward to. Listen, I used to be such a Marvel person, and then ever since Disney got their hands on it, when you were rolling the B-roll, when you were playing the B-roll, I was looking at the cartoon Marvel, like all the classic stuff. That's what I remember. That's what I love. And they just ruined it. And now Marvel does not capture my attention. Anything Marvel new now does not grab my attention. I'm just like, okay, well, we'll see it when we see it. That's just
Apathy set in.
the truth. It's
Absolutely.
least for the
unfortunate. And
segment.
I used to love Spider-Man. I mean, I had a soft spot for Spider-Man.
Well, that's the thing. Spider-Man is still probably the most recognizable superhero in the world. He's probably also the most profitable superhero in the world.
No question.
Spider-Man is probably also the most important film of the year because if it's really popular, it could actually create momentum for the Avengers Doomsday movie. If it's not great, oh my gosh, this gets bad very quickly for Disney.
Well,
Like,
I
who
also
is
don't
this
think
guy?
Spider-Man is. They're saying we have not heard that Spider-Man is in this movie yet, and his movie is supposedly takes place between the two Avengers movies. So one has to wonder what's going to happen in terms of, how that movie is going to connect to the broader MCU. It might have very little impact. So yeah, Spider-Man might not be a factor here, which would be very, very interesting to be sure.
I'll tell you how you can print $1 billion right now if you're Disney.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too late. They got a year. You can print $1 billion by releasing a trailer where it looks like it's a Spider-Man trailer for the movie, right? And everybody's excited, and it's even market it that way, Disney. Okay, this is free consultation. Market it as if it is the world premiere of the Spider-Man trailer for the movie coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it's Spider-Man, it's Tom Holland, and then at the end, like 15 seconds at the end, Hugh Jackman walks onto the screen and says, you got a problem, bub. And then cut to the thing where it says Spider-Man and Wolverine will return in Avengers Doomsday. And then say, the real trailer releases tomorrow, guys. But this is real. This is Avengers Doomsday. And walk away. $1 billion printed right there. Listen, if you think that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland together made money, you ain't seen nothing yet if you pair Tom Holland and Hugh Jackman together on their quest in this movie.
Absolutely, guys. Well, we will see, guys, whether or not this movie will succeed or whether this is truly Doomsday for Disney Marvel.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.